Hi guys, these are the top 10 perfumes that I own, and I'm hoping to do a quick review regarding those 10 perfumes that I'm having. So, there's no particular order in here. So, here we have the Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male, and it's a very sweet fragrance where you could wear it in very fancy environments, like no commercialized stuff. I mean, no official stuff. Do not wear this to the office, but I do wear this to office though, because this is kind of exotic bubblegummy fragrance, kind of vanilla based bubblegummy. For me, I'm getting the bubblegummy thing with a dark side. I haven't used Jean Paul Gaultier's L'Homme in any way, so I do not know how to comment on that. Compare with the Jean Paul Gaultier's L'Homme. So the next thing, so for this I'll rate like an 8, I would say, because this is like kind of generic, yeah, but for the scent I could give it like 8 because it's I could wear it in not very hot and humid days, but in rainy days too. So it's kind of versatile for me in that sense. So I would give it 8. So this is CK1 Platinum Edition, and this is kind of a summer fragrance, not so like CK1 the original one, but it has some fruitiness to it. Like it's very fruity and kind of aldehyde, like soapy vibe. It gives a soapy vibe actually, like a powdery, soapy, fruity vibe, and it's kind of fancy compared with the Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male is pretty intensive compared with this CK1, the platinum one. So this is kind of very cheap, so that's a good deal if you are planning to give it to someone. And yeah, this is kind of a very unisex fragrance, and anyone could wear it, and I would not recommend this to anyone who is like 40 plus years old. So that is my comment on it, and I would give like 7.5 for this CK1, the Platinum Edition. And when it comes to this Hugo Boss red one, this is not I like the most. It's kind of very spicy for a country like Sri Lanka. In here, it's not recommend to wear like the spicy fragrances like this one. So I'm not quite a fan of this because it gives like very hot feel to everyone around the one who wears it. So this is not my favorite unless you are in what do you call, fall or winter. I think this would fit, but I'm not quite a fan of this one though. So I'd give like a 5 for this one. So this is not something I like to own. And here comes the Dior Homme Sport, and I think this is the 2017 version. I'm not quite sure though, just don't get me wrong, I'm not very familiar with the year. So this is the newest one actually, I think. So anyway, this Dior Homme Sport is like a really good one actually, but the thing is it's very quite intensive for me. And since it's Dior, it's intense almost like even in summer. It's like damn very like very much like this what do you call it, Issey Miyake L'Eau de Vaporum, because these two fragrances are really intensive summer fragrances. The citrus note is pretty sharp, and the thing I like the most about this Dior Homme Sport is that it has this natural feel to it. The grapefruit note is pretty like very natural, and that's the quality that we get from Dior, I think. So this is a must own if you like Dior plus summer plus citrus notes. So this is a really good fragrance, guys, and I really like this. But the thing is, it gives me a headache when I usually wear it. It gives me a headache. So that's what it. I mean, that's the fact that I do not quite follow this one over CK1, actually, not this one, but CK1. I really like the CK1 because it doesn't give me a headache. So at the moment I'm not having the CK1 because I lost my bottle. So in that case, I think CK1, I'll give more score to the CK1 in that sense. It's very personal because I'm getting headache by using this. So here we have a masterpiece from YSL. This is called YSL L'Homme, and I'll come to it later because I didn't give a score for this. So I would say I'll give like a 7.5 actually, because the grapefruit note is pretty damn natural. So 7.5 for Dior Sport. And this is the masterpiece that I'm talking about. This is the best perfume that I own, and it's quite good. And the bottle looks very rusty because I have not cleaned it very well, so I've not preserved that very well. So in this hot climate, it's like everything goes rustic, I think so. In that sense, the bottle is not quite preservable, and anyway, this YSL design is so good. This is the best fragrance. The smell that I ever experienced, I would say, because this is very unique. This is very unique to the point that where it doesn't become inoffensive to the one who wears it and the one around the guy who wears it. So I think this is like a kind of unisex, but not so much. So I think this is very suitable for a man who is in between 21 to 35, I would say, because this is very inoffensive, and this is like a divine scent. It's couldn't describe it furthermore. It's like a divine thing, right? It's I could actually describe the notes in it, even though I have looked at the notes in Fragrantica. So this is like apple-y. It doesn't contain apple, as I think, but anyway, it gives like apple, very inoffensive apple plus very mild ginger vibe. And this is, for me, the dry down is the best. The dry down is the best with this fragrance because once you spray it, it gives like a very ginger, very strong fragrance. But when it comes to dry down after like 15 minutes on your skin, it's like damn good. Like I would give like 10 out of 10 for the smell for this, because it's very good. Like you can't go wrong with this if you wear this to the office, and even the 10 plus sprays doesn't matter. Like it's quite inoffensive and doesn't give me a headache, so I'd give like a 9.5 for this one. But the performance is like quite not so good because it will usually go away in about like 4 to 5 hours or below it. So that's the what do you call, that's the cost of having this. But I think the price could be lower, but the thing is, this is like couldn't comparable to any fragrance, so I'd give a 9.5 for this. The only downside is the performance, as I've stated. So here comes the another masterpiece, but not for me though, because this is like quite generic in these days. Everyone knows the Dior Sauvage EDT, and I love this EDT over the EDP because for summer this gives like the the best pepperoni note, I would say, because this doesn't have the depth in the as in the EDP, and the depth makes us. I think personally, the depth in a perfume makes it a little bit uh, fall off in the fall to the winter type. So this is the this is a very good fragrance if you wear this in summer. I think the EDT one, and but the thing is, this also gives me a headache. So I would say I'll give but a 7 or 6 for this, because this is quite generic in these days. Everyone wears it, and even in Sri Lanka, I have smelled like couple of people. So not a very good one, because it also gives me headache. So no, not for me. So but in the earlier days, I used to adore this, but not now. So this is a really good scent. It lasts forever, man. Forever, like 2 days, I think. 2 or 1.5 days. It lasts for that much. Like even one spray is really damn intensive, and so yeah, this is not the very best. It gives me a headache, so not a very good one to wear to the office, because I have just seen some guys wearing this particular Dior Sauvage perfume and the ETT one, and it doesn't give me a good vibe because it's too generic and kind of very intensive. So not an inoffensive type of scent. So not for the office, I would say. Good for casual outings. Yeah. So that's it. And here we have L'Eau de Poron, and this is one of the very intense summery fragrances, which is inspired from yuzu, the lemony citrus fruit, and this is quite intensive for me. So this is not my favorite, but it gives a really good summery vibe. Not for very humid days even. It's like too offensive, I would say. But for the scent, this is like a masterpiece from Issey Miyake, and it is actually because most of the guys like this, and no complaints on it. So I would give a 7 for this, mainly because it just gives me a headache. Otherwise, actual headache, I mean, when I spray it, I could get it quite often, the smell again and again, and then eventually it gives me a headache in that sense. And when it comes to the Aqua Di Gio Ezzenza, this is like a masterpiece from Giorgio Armani, because not like the typical Aqua Di Gio, this is having a very good luxurious touch to it, where you could smell peppery notes, and it has some depth to it. I don't know how they have got that depth to a summer fragrance like this, and this is kind of very suitable for a guy who is having beard and who is like a manly man, and yeah, good for an alpha male, of course. And this is really good for a man who is in between 28 to 45, I would say, because this is like quite a mature scent in my sense. And this is very luxurious compared to the Giorgio Armani's Aqua Di Gio Profumo one, because Profumo one is kind of generic and kind of very similar to Dior Sauvage EDT. So I think not the very best when it comes to the Dior's the Giorgio Armani Aqua Di Gio Profumo. So this is one of the best fragrances that I own in the summer department. So this is really good as summer fragrance, and it gives a really luxurious touch. It doesn't give me a headache though, so go for it. Like I would give an 8.5 for this. So this is a really good one. And here we have the cheapest cologne in here. It's EDT, and this is Perri Ellis 360 red. Look at this, a very fancy bottle. So this is really good for like teenagers, I would say, like for university ones, and for a guy in between 20 to 28. So this is a really good one because it's very cheap. Otherwise the smell is kind of not so good in my sense, because it's very it's it's partially generic, I would say. Not very generic, but partially generic, where you have smelled this kind of scent in early days, probably from Aqua Di Gio, but the depth is not there when it comes to this particular Perri Ellis 360 red one, because of it's like a clone from the Aqua Di Gio, of course. And I wouldn't mind wearing this for for shopping likewise, because it doesn't consume me that amount of money per spray. So this is a really cheap one, and go for it if you are really new to fragrances and doesn't need, and you don't keen on like wearing some luxurious stuff like YSL Dior likewise. So this is a very good one for a beginner to try the fragrances, try this fragrance, and let the others to comment on it. So yeah, I could recommend this only for the cheap cheap when the price, because it's very cheap. Otherwise I wouldn't recommend this Perri Ellis 360. Yeah, and I would give like 7 for the Perri Ellis 360 because of the price, actually, nothing more. So at last we have Hugo Boss bottled intense. Hugo Boss bottled intense, actually. So this is kind of a masterpiece for me. This is having a vibe similar to YSL L'Homme, but this is having more depth than YSL L'Homme. This is, for me, without looking at the notes, I could smell apple plus a little cinnamon plus honey. So that combination will give you like a fall type of vibe. So yes, this has that depth, and this is a very artistic fragrance where some may not adore this, but I do, because I like the YSL L'Homme pretty much, and this is like the YSL L'Homme Intense, not the actual YSL L'Homme Intense, but this is the one I like to have if YSL produced, actually, but as the YSL L'Homme Intense, because this is kind of an intense version of this, I would say. So this pretty much sums everything. Like these are my top 2 fragrances. A tropical country like Sri Lanka couldn't own fragrances like John Paul Gilroy's Ultra Male, because we do not usually get winter, not usual actually, but we don't get winter and no fall. So in that department, I think we should only get summer type of fragrances plus fall fragrances like this one, because this could be where when we are having a rainy season plus at night. So this is my day perfume and this is my night perfume. Don't get me wrong, you could wear this tonight too, even though we have the YSL L'Homme. I think I adore this even more than YSL L'Homme, because this scent couldn't be compared with anyone. Plus this is not offensive, and this is very simple fragrance which I do not know how to explain it even, because it's very divine, and there's nothing more than divineness, right? This is like divine. It's having a holy touch to it. Couldn't describe that smell note by note. I think like the smell comes from heaven. The reason behind I'm calling this a divine fragrance is that I have, before using this particular fragrance, I have sprayed it in a fragrance shop, and then I came to my home, and then I'm getting some really nice divine kind of scent tinkering around me, and I thought, yeah, this is the perfume to buy, and without a doubt, this is the best perfume. Like, the dry down is pretty amazing, as I've stated. So compared with this Boss bottle, this is still the masterpiece, and this is second masterpiece. So yeah, so for the Boss bottle, I would give like an 8.5. It's also an inoffensive fragrance, doesn't give me a headache. So that's how I think all these fragrances match with each other. Like, I think you have understood the difference between these two when it comes to my opinion. So everything I've stated here is my personal opinion, and don't get me wrong, I have not monetized this. So yeah, this is from all my commitment, and these are the fragrances that I own, and I bought the CK1 as my first fragrance, and from then onwards I have built up my own collection like this. And I'm not buying any fragrance just because someone is raving about it, or if even the girls like it or the boys like it, I don't mind. If I like it, I do buy it. So there's nothing wrong in that sense. So I think you have understood what I've told and my opinions and about all these colognes and what do you call the EDT. And yeah, this is of course EDP, so it doesn't state that it will last longer than the Sauvage EDT, because it doesn't last long as much as Sauvage EDT. This particular intense Boss Bottle intense version will last like 6 to 8 hours on my skin. So that's also good compared with this YSL L'Homme. So yeah, that's it. So I would make another video in some months, because I need to just curate everything like the summer fragrance of me. But this sums up all. If you need to watch one video of me, then this would be the video, because this contains everything, the scores and everything. So yeah, hope you have got some idea, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.